Good evening, and welcome to the 18th episode of the Add Water and Stir podcast. I am Mimi from the blog Complicated Melody, and I'm here with my co-host, Adopted Black Mom from the blog Adopted Black Mom. Hey, ABM, how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on? How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm over here. I'm drinking my little Sauvignon Blanc today, so I'm hype. I'm ready to get into this topic today.
Oh,
Yes.
no. So people, she has a Sauvignon Blanc. See, look at that. She's got a glass. She's
Mhm.
sitting. It's
Mhm.
not that. It's not her mug.
Yeah, we don't have the tea
Yeah.
mug today. We
She's not.
have water for hydration over here too.
Well, I have a Pinot Grigio this evening. So
Okay, so
nice
see.
crisp. Trying to beg the spring angels to come and stay. So yes.
So basically we both are ready to get, a little hype on this podcast. So, who knows what will happen tonight? What's been going on with you in the past couple of weeks?
Well, I had some travel and annual conference for my organization last week, so we've been kind of dealing with a bit of dysregulation. And if you've actually read my blog for the last couple of days, I just been in my feelings about all kinds of stuff. And I took your
Mm-mm-mm.
advice and was like, okay, I'm not going to read any more books because that book at the beginning just went fast, really fast. And so I discovered podcast, and so then this morning, I was really um, feeling.
Okay, emoting.
I was emoting in my car in the basement of my building in the parking garage about the possibility of being perimenopausal and how apparently this
Oh,
there's a
sorry.
there's this podcast that talks specifically about mothers and teen girls too, and yeah, you're gonna have to peep that in a few years.
What's the name of the podcast so we can give them a quick shout
Uh,
out?
how are your parenting?
Okay.
And it's really interesting, but yeah. Anyway, so the one that I chose was like about hormones, and
Mhm.
but the title was misleading because I was thinking it was going to be all about hopes like changing body and hormones and why she crazy. No, no,
It's
no,
about your changing hormones.
not changing hormones, and how the average age of mothers when their daughters become teenagers is when they're really starting to become perimenopausal.
Hmm.
And so they were talking about how it's kind of like if you have like some of the emotional cuckoo-ness around PMS, like it starts and it just doesn't end. And it can go on for like 10, 12 years. And so, and I just kind of had to sit with that for a minute because, it just meant a lot to me because it also kind of signaled this kind of totally closing door for the biological child that I never had.
Mhm.
Then it also was like, apparently the beginning of old. And so then saying that the new 40 or the new 50 is the new black is like, a joke because, I know intellectually, this doesn't matter, but it just, yeah, I was in my car like, no. And then I was like, is this it?
Is this what they were talking about?
Is this the hormonal response?
I feel real uncomfortable with what you just said, though. So, okay, because I am advanced maternal age, and I'm
Of
thinking
course,
about when Donna actually gets into her teen years, which will probably be in another, what, 11 years.
and so, I was really, I'm like, I'm still fly. I mean, I'm rocking my silver socks and everything, but I'm still fly, and I still know more words on Urban Dictionary than she does.
Uh huh. Hmm.
So,
Okay. Well, hey, that's it. That's it.
so anyway, I've been in my feelings about that, and just not having men around for her, and kind of, what does that mean in terms of modeling behavior? And it's just been kind of messy up here for the last, week or so. Yeah.
And then does it mean it's just gonna continue on in those feelings? I'm just thinking about how I feel around PMS time, and if you said that can go on for years, I might not have a family left after that. You know,
I was like, well, maybe it's a good
everybody's
thing.
gonna leave me alone.
I was like, well, maybe it's a good thing that a man like here.
It'll be bad all over. Mm.
So anyway, so that's kind of what's been going on in my world. Other than that, we just Yappy. I just brought Yappy home from public school, and he surprised us because we're the juvenile delinquents in the class. We miss class,
Mm-mm-mm.
act right,
Mm-mm.
always like apologizing, and why can't you act like that other dog? Like the schnauzer over there. But he actually surprised us and was really, really a good boy. So that's
Oh,
what's
that's good. That's good.
so what's going on in your world?
Well, we are fully in the throes of the three-nager. So Nana, oh, she just is doing everything. She runs everywhere, which is okay, and she just has lots of opinions and lots of questions. We are starting to get into the why phase, which, you know, oh, and she's like nosy, like what are you eating, mommy? Where are you going, mommy? I'm like, none of your business. I can go there and play with your little Doc McStuffins, but you have to like answer these questions. I'm like, my husband's not even asking me where I'm going, and you asking me where I'm going. Oh, but we are also struggling with soccer. Oh, it is so hard. I really was judgmental. I feel bad for all the parents that I judged, those soccer people that are the, football parents. I was like, oh, those people need to sit down somewhere. I am so sorry because I have become one of those people.
You're not yelling on the field.
Oh, wouldn't I feel like we need to tie our hands. We need to walk away, something, because Nana just does whatever she wants to. All the other kids are standing on the line. The coach is like, everybody stand on the line. She runs across the field and goes someplace else. I mean, anything that the coach tells her to do, she thinks it is the opposite of what he says. And it is hard because we're like, why can't you follow directions?
It's like public school.
That's what I was thinking when you were describing it. I was like, well, I don't want to say Nana is like a puppy, but for real, like it almost related to your story where you're like embarrassed because you're like, why is my child the only person that is not following the directions that are given? But I asked the other parents and they said, well, sometimes they have good and bad days, but I really feel like, when they leave, they talking about us. So this is good for Nana because I think over time she will get used to, doing what everybody else is doing. But oh, it is really the hardest thing to sit there and not get up and redirect her and everything. It got so bad that Wood was like, "We're leaving," and we walked down the soccer. I was like,
Don't
"That
y'all
is
get
so
that
embarrassing."
card?
What'd you say?
I said, don't y'all get her a red card technical because
We were just like, okay, we gotta go. I was sitting on the floor. I was like, oh, well, let me get my stuff. I guess we're leaving. What was like, you're not gonna be over here embarrassing me like this. Let's try it again next week. So, oh, no, soccer. So that's what's going on with us. So our topic today, if you're ready to get into
yes,
it,
let's get into it.
and maybe this is what Nana already is. Our topic today is about raising carefree black girls. And I really don't even know how I came across this. I think I was just reading random things on the internet. But apparently this is a movement, right?
Yeah.
A movement. There's Tumblr blogs about it. There was some Twitter talk about it years ago. Of course, because I'm AMA, I'm probably late to the party. So, but a lot of it stems around kind of the conversation in some ways centers around Willow Smith in some of the ways that her parents, Will and Jada Smith, raise her or allow her to basically make decisions for herself that she doesn't, that traditionally black parents wouldn't allow them to make. So, if you're familiar with Willow Smith, Willow, at a young age has been able to change her hair color and cut her hair off. She's able to, make songs with maybe questionable content. She's able to kind of really do whatever she likes to do. And both Will and Jada's position on that is we're teaching her to be accountable for her decisions. You know, she's a child, she's younger than us, but she is a person. So she has the ability to make these decisions, and we allow her, as long as it's not going to be harmful to her, we allow her to do those. That goes back to what I had talked about before about the personhood of children. But how it relates to the carefree black girl movement is I want to read a little bit about what they said, what a carefree black girl is. So a carefree black girl, let me find the actual definition. Ugh, I can't find it. Let me see.
Well, if you go to the Tumblr.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
The carefree black girl, in its most simple definition, is user-produced and circulated portraiture of black women being happy. So it has its roots in Tumblr. It's been written about in different places. And a lot of the images depict black women smiling or laughing, but they don't have to be. A lot of times they depict women with natural hair and feature women with multicolored hair and different sartorial choices, such as like different matching prints and things. So a lot of things that you do see Willow doing. An important aspect of the carefree black girl is motion, movement that's unchoreographed, unmitigated, exuberant, sometimes languid, but it's always full of life. The key here is freedom, freedom of expression, emotion, and presentation. And so that definition talks a lot about the aesthetic of what a carefree black girl is, but I really think what it boils down to is providing another aspect of black women to see other black women happy, to see yourself whole, to see yourself as confident in the choices that you're making, and basically it allows you to make choices for yourself and be strong in those choices. What do you think about when you think about carefree black girl?
So I hadn't really heard about it until you posted about it. I think maybe on one of my, was it on a post that I put? I can't remember. And you may have sent me a message. I can't remember all the details, but I said, well, I like the way that sounds, so let me go, and I started reading up on it, and I would agree, and I think that it's really kind of, at its core, certainly there are these kind of image representations of what it means, but at its core is the outside is reflective of this inside kind of being that is happy and that is unfettered and unbothered by a lot of the crap that women of color and black women especially seem to coexist with, right? And so there's this kind of just unbothered, unfettered, and there's this reflection. The glow on the outside is reflective of this carefreeness that exists on the inside. And so, as I was reading about it, I said, well, that's kind of interesting. So, well, how do you get there?
I thought it's the same thing. I was like, well, am I carefree? And I was like, well, if you have to ask, that means probably not. So,
But it did make me kind of go back through my Google Photos, whatever that app is on Google, and kind of look back at the last year's pictures of myself and Hope, and and I'm like, do we look carefree, especially since can a sense of carefreeness also exist through the trials that we've had, right? And so, in a lot of the pictures, though, we look really happy. And I mean, we are happy. I don't want to be like, okay, we're just posing all the time, right? But there were some pictures, especially, and I'll have to, I don't show pictures of Hope on the blog, but there's one picture that we took on Christmas Eve where I just love this picture because she's jumping out of the picture. Like, it's just one of my favorite pictures from the whole year where I'm like, this kid is happy in this moment. This is what the embodiment, this is the image that I would probably put on Tumblr.
Oh, when you talk about what carefree looks like.
Yeah.
So one of my questions was, is this an ideal to aspire to? Um, like, should we be thinking about being carefree and raising our girls? I thought it was interesting. It's because we both are raising girls,
Hmm.
and is this something we want to try to teach our children? Now, one of the things I kept reading in many of the articles is there is a difference between being carefree and careless, you
No.
know. Um, and so the carefree goes to what you're talking about, the unfetteredness, the unbotheredness, the not being bogged down by many of the things that maybe characterize or what people characterize as the black woman experience, which is, kind of the hardships and the stereotypes and everything. So these, being carefree means I'm unbothered by that. But the careless means I'm just irresponsible,
Yeah.
right? So being a carefree girl doesn't mean that you're not responsible. Doesn't mean that you don't consider things. It just means that you choose to enjoy life instead of focusing on the things that may bring you down. And to me, that's a good ideal for us to focus on. At least for me, I would love for Nana to be able to grow up in a way where she doesn't have to necessarily make choices based on how she thinks other people will perceive her or what the expectations are of her because she is a black girl.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, this piece of is it realistic or not, I think that I think for me and thinking about this over the last week is not that it's the representation and kind of those what I aspire to anyway for myself and for Hope is um, these reflections and hopefully these moments that you really can see your own bothered, because the reality is we're bothered a lot by a lot of things,
Right.
but that we can actually have this collection of moments that are carefree, and so for me, in thinking about myself, how do I create that for myself so that I can model it for her, and then how do I create that for her? And it's um and so that's one of the reasons why I kind of went back and I said, well, this whole movement kind of started based on these images. Let me see, do I create that? And how often do I create it? And do my pictures without her reflect that?
Mhm.
I will confess, I think I shared with you last night or the day before, or a couple of days ago or something. I can't remember. The days of the week are all just blurred together. But that I didn't think I was very carefree right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I think about being carefree in a larger context, and maybe this is because this is what's on my mind, but even from a just how I maneuver in the world, right? So I think a lot of my choices do have to do with what's the perception of my choice going to be. So at work, what's the perception of my style? What's the perception of, how I choose to represent myself as I go around in the world? And so to me, I feel like I'm definitely not carefree, but I would love for Nana to be able to say, well, this is what I like,
Yeah.
because that's just who I am and this is what I like. So it doesn't bother me that this is either not in style or not what everybody's doing or not what typically black people do or, all those things. So those are the things that I'm thinking about as far as carefreeness, the ability to just choose the things that you like and choose the way that you look and choose the way that you interact without having, not saying that you won't have the stigmas placed on you, but without caring so much about those stigmas, or at least even if you recognize them, not allowing them to stop you from doing those things.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, is it possible for me, who has all that baggage that I'm carrying around me, to provide a safe space for her to explore that?
Well, sometimes I find myself suggesting things to a Hope that my mother probably would have kill me had I asked for. So, for example, this week she asked me to do her hair in a faux hawk.
Mhm.
And so I was like, sure, that's easy. I mean, it's hair, like
Mhm.
whatever. And so then I said, well, would you like to put some color in it?
Now, when I was growing up, you could not get color in your hair until you were like, I don't know, 15, 16.
Like,
Then, you definitely not
no.
in middle school.
Even then, you might just be rocking a Kool-Aid rinse, right? So,
Yes.
so what I did though is that we're not making a long-term commitment. So I went and got, and it just happened to be sitting here on the desk. I went and got the what is this? Is this Maybelline? I can't. Yeah, Maybelline, the color tattoo,
Mhm.
and it's in a bright purple. I don't know if you can see it, but
Very cute.
and so when I took her hair down, when she went to school, I just smeared that on some of the curls in the front, and presto, changeo,
And she
you
had
know,
purple hair.
purple hair with Willow Smith,
Yes.
rock my hair back and forth. And so, and she was like, oh my God. Oh, okay. She tried to act all cool and everything, but when she got home, she was like, "Oh my God!" My friends were like, "Oh my God, your hair is purple," and you know, and so and then a couple of days later, I think last night when I was putting her hair up for the night, she was just like, "Well, so do you think I can do it in purple? I mean, or in blue? Can I have blue?" And so her ability, knowing that I'll say yes, because if I don't make it such a big deal, I mean, it's just hair, really. It's just
Mhm.
hair. Like, if I don't make it such a big deal, then that's something that she can have and just have fun with. And it's just nobody's going to die on a cross. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. And it's one thing for her to have fun and not worry about and find a way of expressing herself. And so, but I kind of have to lead her into it and tell her that it's okay.
Mhm. So I think that's great. Excuse me. I think that's great that you're able to do all that. And I think about when Nana gets older, will we be the type of parents to allow her to express herself in that way? All I think growing up in the generation I did, or at least with the parents that I did and the grandparents that I did, I still have a lot of respectability baggage that I'm carrying around, right? So for me, hair is not a big deal. I mean, look at my hair. So, hair is not that big of a deal. That wouldn't bother me so much. There may be other things though that I'd be like, you can't leave the house looking like that, or that might not be appropriate for you. And I'm thinking like, where is the boundary where you put because I still feel like as a parent, you still have to have guidance, but you also have to provide that um, atmosphere where they can be open to like making choices. Basically, the point is say yes when you can. Try to say yes as often as you can. If it's not harming anything, it's not hurting you, it's not hurting them, why not say yes?
So, so I guess where's the I mean, and that's something I try to practice, and sometimes I have to be very conscious about it because sometimes it's really just easy to be like, nope, 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 nope. There's a lot at 13. There's a lot of things to say no to, but I have to actively, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, give me something that I can say yes to. Yeah,
Mhm.
I will put some eyeshadow in your hair, but I guess sometimes it's hard to determine where the limit is. And to give you an example, we had a sitter this last weekend. And she was a disaster. Like I just can't even. It was such a hot buttered mess. But this sister is a sister, and she brought her 10-year-old, 11-year-old daughter, 12-year-old daughter. Anyway,
With approval, right?
she didn't really kind of give me much of. It was like, okay, this is how much I cost and how much I charge, and I'll have to bring my daughter. But I kind of was in a bind coverage
Mhm.
wise.
Mhm.
Anyway, long story. So she comes, and during the course of the time that they were with Hope, they disclosed that they practice unschooling. And
Mhm.
and it's interesting because for me I see a kind of intersection between the carefree black girl and this unschooling kind of thing,
Mhm.
but it's like an extreme. It's kind of like it's in some ways, the parenting that Will and Jada are practicing is kind of in that vein a bit,
Mm-hmm.
um, but with more resources, a lot more,
Yes. Yes.
which we'll talk about. But
Yes.
but it was really interesting because when I got home and they left, Hope was like, oh my God, I could not believe how she talked to her mother. Like, I would never talk to you like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would never talk to you like that. I found her disrespectful. She disrespects adults. She doesn't. And so it was kind of interesting because, Hope has these boundaries I think that we've created as a family and kind of what I will tolerate, what she can do, and those kinds of things. But um, sometimes the saying yes piece, there's a gray area.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's a kind of case by case basis, but clearly there is an extreme. And I can tell you that my daughter was not down with a whole like, you're not giving that kind of freedom. Like, no,
Yes.
I need you to
It's
snap
just
back.
way too much. I cannot deal with all those extra because when you give that freedom, then they have to make all those choices themselves and everybody's not ready to make those choices.
So she was pretty clear without saying, I could not handle that. It like freaked me the heck out. Like, don't give me that kind of freedom.
Yeah. Mhm. Hmm.
So anyway.
So you brought up a good point, and it was something I wanted to talk about too. Is this where does economic privilege play into the ability to be a carefree girl? And there was one article that I found that talked about that, and her point was that the term carefree black girl is usually applied to celebrities such as Lisa Bonet, Willow Smith, Solange Knowles, and one of the things that they have in common is that they have class privilege, right? So they have a lot of economic privilege, they have a lot of money, so they're able to, in some ways, um, do all these things and make these decisions without what seems like consequences because they have the money to do so, versus when you're in a situation and making those choices may negatively impact your career or may negatively impact how you interact with other people in the world. So what did you think about that?
Um, yeah, it kind of gave me pause because I kind of, when you think about kind of the folks that are, again, like you mentioned, held up as these are carefree people, and I'm like, well, you can afford to be carefree.
Hmm.
I mean,
But can't you afford to be carefree if you're poor too, right?
well,
So, I mean,
yeah,
there's less to lose.
but do those carefrees look the same? And not that every carefree has to.
Yes.
Do they look the same, and what do they mean? And so, I don't know. I do feel like, there's this class piece that makes me uncomfortable, and yet I couldn't kind of get away from it because I read that article and I said, wow, this is um, it's hard because I also this week was like signed the lease for we did a summer rental, and Hope was like, oh my God, like what is it like to have a beach house?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't know because I ain't grown up with one.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Nana's gonna have so many privileges that I didn't have growing up. So, hmm.
And so I've certainly rented a house since I've been an adult, but now it's different because she is like, oh, well, I'm going to, this beach house, and she's like, what is that like?
Mhm.
And so there's this kind of, we talk about this kind of change in class, which we've struggled with, but was she carefree before? I mean, or even in this last year, how carefree was she in this transition? And I don't know.
Hmm.
I struggle with this because I do feel like even though lower SES families with children can afford to be carefree because they don't have that carefree looks a lot different and comes or doesn't come with a bunch of stuff. And I'm not just talking about material things, but it just doesn't come with some opportunities. that allow people, I think, to be increasingly carefree.
I would agree with that. And I guess when I was thinking about this topic, I said probably Nana has more of a chance to be carefree than I did because she doesn't necessarily have to have responsibilities, right? So she's going to have not necessarily have school loans, right? We're already thinking about how to invest in her future. So maybe she already has a house when she graduates. You know, she'll already have those things that allow you to be like, well, if I don't have school loans and I already have a house and I already have a car, then I can take a year off and go on and do whatever I want to do, or I can find myself or whatever these things that typically we don't think of black people doing because we don't have the economic privilege to do so. And so perhaps having money is one piece of being able to be carefree.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and that's uncomfortable, right? Because you
is.
want all black women to be able to be carefree, but the reality is, like I said, there's consequences, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, to read from that particular piece, which is on One Black Girl, Many Words, the blog at One Black Girl, Many Words.blogspot.com, at the end of the article, she says, "We can believe we are free even with small bank accounts. We can believe in our own personal subjectivity even without the tools and privileges to force others to accept and reconcile with that subjectivity," which also kind of gets into this, I can be free, but do other people think I'm free? And she goes on to write, "Our understanding of the carefree black girl must include low-income black girls. The only route to freedom is not through financial stability or convenient circumstances. It must include the Tianas from the Princess and the Frog. It has to include me." And I agree, and I think that maybe there's a privileged jadedness that we're looking lens that we're looking through in terms of this. We're not accepting of the free low income black girls, and I think, I don't know, maybe it's because I mean, I didn't come up completely low income, but I came up with a lot less than I have now. And I look back and I guess I was free. I mean, I don't know. I have to kind of ruminate on that and chew on that a little bit more.
I feel like I absolutely was not free. So not in that sense at all. I think I always was thinking about how to strive to get more than what I currently have. Versus part of being carefree is being okay with where you are, right? Well, maybe. I don't know. Because I feel like, again, carefreeness from me is being confident and okay with the choices that you make and being okay with that. And so, that's a good point. Does it include the strivers? Can you be carefree and striving at the same time?
Well, if you have a dream and you're working towards that dream, and it's kind of like, when I watch trashy TV during the day.
Okay.
And I mean, trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. But when I watch trashy TV and, Guy help us like with Maury or, Paternity Core or whatever, and I kind of wonder about the choices that people made that kind of led them to these shows. And yet and I can sit in judgment from the comfort of my couch and be like, this is so jacked up. Like, I cannot believe the choices that you made, and we cannot be more different. And yet there is also parts of these people, kind of, there's this part of this person that is so much more carefree than I am. Like, and I don't mean, and some of it is careless.
That's what I'm trying to understand. I'm like, is it careless or carefree?
No, I think some of it is careless, but I think that those can coexist as well. Some of it is careless, but some of it is carefree. And there's a part of me that kind of wishes I had that. Just like I will also say, shout out to my Latina sisters, because there is a carefreeness that I see culturally and in a comfort with body with a lot of my Latina sisters that I desperately wish I had. that there's a comfort, a body comfort that I think many African American women maybe used to have and don't have quite the way that we used to. And I miss that carefreeness uh,
Mhm.
around body issues, shape, type, all of those kinds of things that I see in some other cultures, particularly, like I said, in Latina cultures. And I miss that. So anyway,
Mhm.
I'm rambling. So,
No, you're okay. I mean, your point is that you can be in a different social economic class and be carefree. And I'm still struggling with that. I mean, that was the point of the article from One Black Girl, Many Words. But I'm thinking at that point in time where you're striving, you actually have a lot of cares, right? You care about a lot of things that are happening to you, and Princess Tiana, that's the person that she used as an example, didn't feel carefree to me in the movie, you know. So perhaps I need to adjust my thought about what carefree means, or the other thought is you don't have to be carefree all the time, right? So there may be
right.
times in your life where you're not, right? You're focused on whatever it is, and then when you achieve that goal, you can go back to kind of not being so focused and determined on that particular thing and being confident in where you are currently at the time. So maybe there's a continuum that you have to go to. I don't think carefree needs to cover all of us, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Or everything that we do every single day, you know.
right.
This, and that's why I kind of say that there are these moments for me. I guess there's these collection of moments, and I think even as we, I think that as we kind of put together photo albums or these kind of montages, we look for pictures. We naturally are kind of attracted to pictures in which we look carefree, right?
Mhm.
The colors are vibrant. We see our inner shine. We are like happy. We're free. Nobody's putting together montages of like,
Yeah, of you looking sad and unhappy, right? Who even takes pictures like that?
right.
Right.
And so, so what ends up happening, like on the Tumblr, is this kind of curated, kind of curated set of experiences that we are. I mean, it's more than happy. This carefree, and I'm fascinated by the concept, but I I'm not sure it's a persistent state, and I think that it can be. It's more than situational, but I don't think that it's a persistent state for me.
So let me ask you this: do you think Lisa Bonet's character on A Different World or Cosby Show was she carefree? Would you consider her character as carefree?
Um,
'Cause I'm trying to think of what a lifestyle would look like. You know, I'm sure it can take different forms, but if we had to like pick a archetype, what that would look like.
so I guess, um, in the sense that she didn't care what people thought, then I guess yes. But I guess at the time, I also, she was an interesting, intriguing, beautiful outcast.
Mhm.
And even then in her care, and so yeah, she was carefree, but even then in her carefreeness, there was a limit,
Mhm.
and it
You
was
were
called
like,
Angel Heart. It was like,
what'd you say?
and it was called Angel Heart, or whatever that movie was.
No, I'm talking about her character, like on
No,
the Bill Cosby show, you know, like or A Different World, you
well,
know.
but I
I
think
mean, Lisa Bonet is a person, yes,
but I
but
think even her as an individual,
mhm.
she's actually in some ways very much the way that the character was portrayed, right? And so, she had this kind of this, and maybe that view of her was also curated because of the character, but she seems to continue to reflect that. But she made a choice that people were like, "Girl, you didn't go too far." So I think
Mhm.
that the character, both the character and the individual, could be classified. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll buy that. I'll buy that.
But when I
And
think
does
of
that
her, I'm like, well, I don't want Nana to be like that, you know, because can you be carefree but also determined to do something else. I mean, it makes it seem like carefree means you're going to be a slacker in some way.
Well,
So
I guess I didn't.
because that's at least how she ends up kind of showing up, like just this person that doesn't have any clear understanding of what she wants to do. She just kind of goes with the flow. I'm like,
Well,
surely you can be something different without being like Denise.
well, yeah. I mean, I think that I mean, she came across as flighty, not very bright, all these kinds of things. She's pretty, and so there was that. But she wore weird clothes, blah 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 blah. She gets to Hillman, and she's still kind of funky, which the funky that we like to hang out with, but that's about it. And then she meets Whitley, who is also always all the way at the other end of the spectrum, right?
Ooh, what about Lena? Was Lena carefree?
Which one was Lena?
Lena was actually Jada Pinkett's character,
Oh.
who was funky herself. Her social economic status was different. She seemed to have a little bit more focus about what she wanted to do, but she also had this kind of ability to be like, well, this is what I want to do, so I don't really have, I really don't care what people's perspective is of me. It came off cross as more harsh. So Lisa Bonet kind of came across as flighty, and Jada Pinkett's character Lena came across as maybe more rough,
Hmm.
but and because maybe she wasn't as happy, she doesn't get qualified as carefree, but perhaps she falls into that. I don't know. I'm still kind of struggling with this, what this actually means in a practical way.
Yeah, I mean, because, well, like, I mean, going back to Whitley, Whitley had a lot of expectations on her. She was
Yes.
wealthy,
She definitely wasn't carefree to
but she
me.
wasn't carefree, so
Mm-mm.
scratch money off the list.
Yes. Yeah. So,
So scratch money off the list. And so, I don't know. Was what is her name? Rain was not Rain. What's her name? The
Summer, I
yeah,
mean, Cree Summer,
pre Summer. She was
carefree.
probably. I mean, she might have been kind of free.
Mm. I don't
We're
see.
stretching.
No,
At some point, we're
I
gonna
don't know. She could have been, but she didn't. No, yeah, I don't know. She didn't necessarily come across as carefree to me. She definitely had a lot of cares. Um, she
yeah,
definitely,
she did. She worried a lot about things. I mean,
yes.
so yeah. So I mean, if Denise is if the character of Denise is one of kind of a representation of carefree, I'm not
I don't want my child to be like that. So anyway, so anybody who views this or listens to us, please send us a tweet or email about maybe a representation of what you think it means to be carefree, because we're struggling with the concept a little bit, and I like the idea of it. I'm just trying to think like what it looks like practically, and maybe it looks different for everybody, but I'd like for Nana to have at least some aspects of that. I want her to be able to maneuver in the world and be confident in her decisions and not have so many cares about what other people think about her choices. So I like her to be like that. And so I'd like to hear what other people's perspective is on this.
Yeah, and my second question out there to viewers or listeners is, um, um, what does it mean for a kid who has survived trauma to become carefree?
Yeah.
Um, because I struggle with this because I'm like, well, I don't know what it looks like I don't know what it looks like, and so I don't not quite sure what it's going to look like when we get there. I know
Hmm.
that there's less caring that's occurring on a daily basis. I can look back
Right.
over the year and see how much we've grown. But will we get to a place where my daughter is carefree?
Hmm.
And I worry about that. Not well, no, I do worry about that because I also see the struggles. I'm seeing a lot more tweets again about flip the script, and recently, and it seems that that weighs the voice of the adoptee, and some of the challenges around kind of reconciling issues around adoption for adoptees um, prevents a level of carefreeness.
Mm.
And I'm not really
Can you be
sure.
adopted and be carefree? Is that your question?
Can you be adopted and be carefree? And I mean I think that there's certainly a lot of adoptees out there that can give me perfect examples of them being
Hmm.
carefree, but what did it take to get there?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Can your adoptive parents
Mhm.
help facilitate you getting to that too?
Yeah. So, hey Angela Tucker, if you're listening, are you are you a
Yes.
carefree black girl?
Yes. Yes. I'd
Looks
like
like
to
you're
know
kind
too.
of a, because I mean, I see her and I see that brightness in her, which kind of gets to some of the images that I see on Tumblr. But is she carefree? I don't know. I'd be kind of curious. Like, let's
She
see.
definitely looks like it. And then again, that makes me think of, okay, Seattle and class privilege and all those things. I wonder if what the intersection is of those things. I, it's a very interesting question. It sounds like we have not resolved this one.
So we might,
This has been a discussion that we've really gotten into today. We might have to revisit this in the future.
but I think we might have to come back to this. But
Yes.
I think that I would love to know what adoptees think about a carefree movement, and I certainly would love to know what adoptees of color and Black adoptees specifically think about it, and adoptees of transracial,
Mm.
families, and kind of. I mean, there's just a lot there that I'm trying to figure out how to. It's not. I can't even unpack it. I'm just like got the suitcase open, going like, there's a whole bunch of stuff just don't.
Exactly. And it's a big suitcase too, just
It's a trunk.
stuff all underneath here.
Like, what
So,
is this? And so for me, I'm thinking because my daughter is older, and I think that I think that Nana will have questions about all kinds of things
oh yeah.
as she gets older. But we're dealing with that stuff now, and so I'm just kind of, I don't know what it means.
Mhm.
So, but it's something that I'm striving to. It seems like a fantastic ideal to work
I
toward.
like the idea of it. I want to be carefree. I know how to get there. How do you get to being carefree? So, man, this was a good discussion. So we're at 15 past the hour. I'm gonna 20 past the hour. I'm gonna transition us down into the wind down.
Down.
Since we have our wine that we're sipping on. So, um, what
Where
should we
shall we
talk about today? Should we talk about, if you're new to the podcast, this is typically when we start to talk about reality TV and ratchet things.
Yes.
And if that's not your cup of tea, we'll see you in 2 weeks. But if it is, let's talk about some ratchet TV. So,
Well,
uh,
there's just so much epic TV this week. But can we start with last night's Empire? Because the last time we kind of short Empire, and like it was just, I was trying to explain it to some friends, and I was like, there's a part of me that hates saying it's the black dot 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 because that assumes that the dot 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 is the norm, right?
mhm.
But it really is kind of like the Black Dynasty meets Dallas meets Knots Landing meets Bold and the Beautiful meets like Days of Our Lives as World Turns and Young and the Restless. Like it's just so.
It is awesomely ridiculous. So I mean, it's all of that compiled into one 2 hour finale.
I mean, I really couldn't handle the 2 hour finale.
I couldn't either. Did you see my text to you? My G chat. I was like, I can't even watch the second half of this. I don't even know what to do.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it on Hulu tomorrow morning after Hope goes to school and because I'm like I just was sitting there going, what in the hell is happening?
Okay, so for people who I'm not going to recap Empire for you, but basically it's it's about a father named Lucius Lyon who has 3 sons. He owns a music company. He wants to take it public. He also thinks he's dying of ALS. and so he's identified a successor. In addition to that, he had a wife who went to jail for drug dealing, who gave him the seed money to start this company. She went to jail for 17 years, and at the beginning of this series, she's come out of jail. So we've got. Does that sound crazy? Yes, it does. Okay, yes, we so,
Yes.
so we get. Oh, okay. Let me add some more stuff. So his three sons. He has three sons. The oldest son is a manic depressive, right? A bipolar. Sorry, he has bipolar disorder, right? So
Harvard educated, Wharton Business School. I mean, like, he's bad.
he's very smart. He's the CFO of the company, but he has bipolar disorder, and at some point in time during the season, he stops taking his pills and loses it. The second son is homosexual, and at the beginning of the season, he's living with his partner, and then by the end of the season, he, is no longer with his partner and has a new boyfriend. But also, he's a very talented singer. Or at least they tell us he's a talented singer. I have some other thoughts about that, but anyway, he's portrayed as being a talented singer. And the last son is the youngest son is a rapper and supposed to be a talented rapper. And at some point in time during the season, we saw that he was dating a woman probably three times his age. I mean, 2.5 times his age. I mean, she probably was like, what, 45, 50, 60? I don't know. How old is Naomi?
Like, he's about 12. I mean,
yeah, he's probably like 18 or 19 or something. He's legal, but barely. And she is good, 40 something. 5, 7, 52. We don't know how old she is, but
it's just a mess.
So, I mean, there's a lot that happens. It's on demand, so go back and watch it. But let's talk about this.
Pick one.
Oh, okay.
Are we going to talk about the dream sequence where he's hallucinating?
I mean, it was so bad. It was.
Or are we going to talk about the scene that was the low rent 8 Mile? With Eminem?
Yes, where Jesse what's his name on the show?
Jamal.
Jamal sings a song because the rapper is rapping about him being gay and how nobody's gonna follow him because he's gay.
I mean, but it was a really low rent scene from Eminem's 8 Mile. I mean, and like Twitter was blowing up like, where's Mekhi Phifer?
Exactly. But I've already told you that I feel like this guy, Jesse, whatever his name is, was Jolette Smollett.
Yeah. He's Journey Smollett's brother.
Who?
He's Journey Smollett's brother. Yeah.
Yes. But not the one that was on Eve's Bayou, right? Because that one the little brother was on that show too. Anyway, but
yeah.
It's a whole clan of them. But anyway,
they're like the Jets.
Yes, they're all like some pretty kids and everything. But anyway, Jussie Smollett is the singer, Jamal, and I just feel like he is too excited about singing. It's something about his performance that is inauthentic. And I mean, he's acting, but I think he actually is singing. He actually sings these songs.
Yeah.
And so something about his performance always seems like for somebody who has grown up around music, he always just seems way too excited about singing. Like, yes, I'm singing. I'm on TV, y'all.
Record deal until mid-season. I mean, he got a record deal mid-season, but I just think there's too much singing on the show. I mean, I know it's a music show, but I'm like, okay. But they brought Miss Patty out. She took a break from
I don't even know. If I was Patty, I'd be like, who is this Jussie Smollett? I'm not about to sing a duet with him. I honestly was disappointed with Patty. I was like, Patty, have you no shame? Why are you singing with this guy? You what? Patti LaBelle? Why him? You should have did like Gladys Knight was like, I'm gonna sing a solo, and everybody else can just listen to me sing. But Patti is actually singing with Jussie, and I'm like, Jussie.
I need Mother Aretha and Sissy.
Get back on there so Sissy can be in the background giving shade to Aretha on a Fox TV show. Okay.
Yeah, I need that in my life. But I mean, there's just too much to talk about. You're right. We can't. I mean,
We can't recap. We have to like walk through the whole episode. I think it would take us a whole hour to walk through this
well, it's so
season
funny.
finale.
I don't know if you read Awesomely Lovely's blog, but she is a blogger who recaps. She recaps Scandal and she recaps Empire, and so she
I
posted
didn't know she recaps Empire, so I need to check that out.
Empire. She recaps Empire, so she posted it earlier today, and it was even she was like, it was just too much.
It was too much. By the first hour, I was like, I can't take any more of this ridiculousness. Like, I don't know what else can happen that just doesn't make sense in this TV
But
show.
I will say that Lucius going to jail saved us from him singing this week, so that's
But he did sing. He sang though.
But he was supposed to be the grand finale.
That probably is the biggest joke of the whole thing, that they are trying to make it seem like Lucius actually had a singing career, and he's like singing on there like he's jamming, and I'm like, what kind of music was this?
I just keep.
I'm trying to like. It sounds like folk music, folk music with the R&B beat with like ghetto lyrics. I don't understand like what genre of music that he's singing.
I just when they did the flashbacks last night to him, back in the hood studio, and he's got the do-rag on. I was just waiting for him to go 3-6 Mafia, like it's hard out here for a pimp.
Yeah, I thought he was a rapper, and then he starts singing. I'm like, are these ballads? What are these? These seem like. What did you say?
What is happening?
I don't know. I don't. And the lyrics of them are just so strange. What are you talking about? Bang. What is the song that I don't know? It just seems like nice lyrics, and then you add like a little booty shake in the middle. I don't get it. So
that's Empire.
yes. So basically,
You still don't know what happened. You still don't know what happened because we can't
articulate it.
Our viewers and listeners, this conversation is very much like the episode. It just goes on, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess.
But what we will say is, up to this point, I was entertained.
Oh.
Every episode up to this point, I was like, yes, I'm going to watch this. I was entertained. It was crazy a little bit, but I was entertained. But you know when they say something jumped the shark.
This jumped the whale.
This thing just jumped the whole ocean. I mean, I don't know what happened here, but
So yeah,
I don't know where they can go from here.
I'm gonna have to rewatch because Lucius is also in the span of an hour and a half developed a god complex, and I mean you can't kill him. And I was like, oh my goodness, is there gonna be an adoption storyline? Because apparently he was an orphan at the age of 9, so he changed his name to, wait for it, Lucius.
That's the other thing. Wait a minute, his name was Moonwalker. Wait a minute, was it Moonwalker? What was his name? It was something like Skywalker, Moonwalker. And instead of, when he decided to change his name, he says, I want to be named Lucius. Who have you ever heard whose name is Lucius? What year was this? This had to be like 1957 or something like this when this happened.
I'm just waiting for him to have a carefree black man Tumblr site.
It's almost like he like misspelled his name, and he meant to say Luscious and missed the extra S and said, oh, I guess it's going to be Lucius. I don't even understand it. Like,
I don't know, but they had this whole thing like, my dad's the devil. Because Jennifer is on there. I can't think of what the child name, the singer.
Jennifer. Yeah, what is that girl's name?
I don't know. It's whatever. I can't remember her name because she got skinny. But
Jennifer. It's the wine. It must be the wine because I can't remember what her name is.
Yeah,
the lady that does the Weight Watcher commercials. That lady. The one from
Dreamgirls.
What was the one? What movie was that?
Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls.
Effie. Effie. So
Jennifer Lewis, not Lewis. I don't know. Anyway, I like her singing. I feel so bad. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Hudson.
Yes,
There you
Jennifer
go.
Hudson. Yes.
Hudson. So anyway, she's on there. He gives her this contract, and Andre is like, my dad is the devil, so I'm waiting for them next season to break out with Lucius means Lucifer, and so
It's okay. That's the
you heard it
connection
here first.
because I really can't understand. Lucius does sound like your old uncle, that you play spades with and that drinks old English at, like a 40 ounce of old English.
It's rather lecherous.
Yeah, the name just really sounds like so old school, you know, passed down from your granddaddy. Like I knew somebody named Lucius.
Yeah, it's just a mess. So that's Empire. Being Mary Jane was cool. She's not pregnant. Crazy.
No, being Mary Jane was not cool, actually.
Oh, okay.
Being Mary Jane is not cool. She is not somebody that I would aspire to. Would you? Would you
No,
want any?
no.
Oh, look, it is the furry one. No, this is not the furry one. What's this one? Hi, Yappy. How you doing? Are you behaving today?
He's looking for food.
Okay, so you can't see what we're doing, but Yappy has made an appearance on the podcast. So
Yappy's first guest star. Mm.
yes. So being Mary Jane, the season finale was last week. Spoiler alert, she broke up with David. She's not pregnant, and she is still a nasty person. I was going to use another word, but I'm going to keep it cute so we don't have to click on explicit on her podcast. She's still a nasty person. She's a really nasty person.
She is.
I mean, I don't understand. She was part of what she wanted to do was make amends with people, and she goes around it about it in the worst way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's mean and awful, and I was really sad when her Lucy went over to fix her hair because I was just waiting for just somebody to leave her out in the cold so that she ain't had no weave.
Wouldn't that be nice if she just had to show up to her talk show with her weave out?
I was like, somebody is always in the clutch, like saving her butt. Like it's just ridiculous. But in my highlight though, I tweeted, and one of the cast members tweeted me back, like he favorited my tweet. Well,
this is the guy that plays Mark, that favorite.
Yeah, the guy that plays Mark. And so I was like, oh my God. Of course I didn't notice like for like a day because I was like, la, 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 la. Oh my God, like me. So, yes. But yeah, when she went in with Kara, and Kara is they deserve each other because they are just so.
What did Kara do that was so wrong?
Well, Kara acted like, well, what focus groups are you talking about?
Well, because okay, so this is the deal. The reason why I felt like Kara did that was because Mary Jane wasn't supposed to know. So she was trying to pretend to the guy, the boss, that she didn't know about, like that she didn't tell Mary Jane about it. So to Mary Jane, she was like, "What are you talking about?" She was trying to play along. I didn't feel like that was a bad thing. I thought she was trying to.
I got it, but I was like, they're just. I can't stand Kara, but basically when she was just like, yeah, I need more black stuff. So I tweeted all black everything.
But what? Okay, so let me understand. What did Kara do? I mean, it's not like I really like Kara, but I don't feel like she's doing anything wrong. Kara's in a place where, I mean, we work together. We are office friends.
Yeah.
We might have some like chit chat after work or whatever because the type of work that we do extends past normal office hours.
Yeah.
But you ain't my bestie, and I think they both know that. Well, I don't feel like Kara's doing anything that is. Maybe I see myself a little bit in Kara. I probably act similar and be like, well, I can't tell you everything because I just can't,
Well, I mean, I don't think that she should tell her everything, but I think that that's the point. And so you can't, like, once you have, yeah, okay. I mean, I've been in a meeting where I've told people something or they told me, and we, have a unspoken understanding that one of us is gonna play dumb. But I just didn't feel like they had an unspoken understanding. I just don't ever think that they're really truly on the same page ever, ever. And I think that Mary Jane is dumb enough to think that some people.
Why is that wrong of Kara to do that? Because Mary Jane, she's not on the same page as Mary Jane.
You're right. I don't like either one of them to be. Like, I
I'm
think
just trying to understand, like, what loyalty does, I mean,
does
we're
Sarah have?
cool.
None.
I know,
I
I'm just
mean,
trying to
she's
understand. I mean,
demonstrated.
like, I work for you. I'm your producer. We're cool. We're cordial outside. We even share, like, some good stuff, but at the end of the day, you should know who I am. You already know who I am,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
she's shady. Kara is shady, and so you're right. She should have known who
I
she
don't even think she's shady. I don't know. Maybe I don't
was.
stand for Kara, but I'm like, well, if I'm a producer and somebody comes to me and says we're doing test groups and we don't want you to tell Mary Jane, if I'm not I'm not really that friendly with Mary Jane, I'm not gonna tell her.
So then she shouldn't have told her.
But she didn't. Mary Jane found out some other way and she confronted Kara about it.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, "Oh, well, I know you knew about that, but since you do, here's the situation."
Mm.
You think she should have went to tell her?
No.
I think it's a hard situation to be in. And I feel like that as a supervisor. As a supervisor, I know a lot of stuff about my employees that they don't know, right?
Right.
So I know what's coming down the pipeline that may impact them. But I can't just be in there and be like, girl, this is coming down the pipe. Don't tell nobody I told you. Because they're going to tell somebody. That's just life. That's how it works.
Right.
Somebody told me when I was in college, they said, if you don't want anybody to know your business, don't tell
Don't tell her.
anybody.
Don't tell her.
So
Don't tell her.
I don't know. I feel what you're saying though. We
I'll buy it.
want our people, we want our girlfriends to be true girlfriends, but I think what we have to do is be realistic about what our relationships really are to those people. And Mary Jane ain't that cool with her.
Well,
So why she think I don't think Mary Jane's loyal to Kara, so why should Kara be loyal to Mary Jane?
well, I mean, I think that the larger issue is ain't nobody on on the show Friends. Like not.
Well, Mary Jane doesn't have any friends. That's the real crux of the issue, and I think that's unfortunate that you can be 40 years old and you don't have a true fan in your mix. And
Not.
on top of that, your family has gotten to a point where they're like, I don't even care what you think about me anymore.
Right.
So she is so out there and so nasty and so unlikable that everybody has given up with dealing with her. To
Yeah.
me, this is not a representation of any black women that I don't know.
Mm-mm. Well, there's that. So
There is that.
it's 20 minutes to 11, and I have a faux hawk that needs.
Oh yeah, you got to get that done with the blue. Or are you doing purple again? So.
Well, I only put color in if she is out of the shower and bedroom on time for breakfast. So she doesn't no color today.
Oh well.
Like when she gets out by a certain time, then she gets to have extra.
Well.
So, but she didn't get extra today. So.
Try again next time. That's why I tell Melly. Melly said, "Can I have a snack today?" Nope, not today. Maybe tomorrow. We can try again tomorrow. She'll be sad.
All right, Mimi, where can they find you in the East Street?
You can find me at my blog, complicatedmelody.com. That's melody with an I. You can find me on Twitter at MimiComplex. And you can email me at complicatedmelody@gmail.com. What about you? Where can they find you?
You can find me on the Twitters at Adoptive Black Mom, and I'm on Facebook a lot these days at Adoptive Black Mom on Facebook. And, of course, the blog is adoptiveblackmom.com and adoptiveblackmom@gmail.
All right, so we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Again, if you have any thoughts about what it means to be a carefree black girl or any thoughts about what it means to be adopted and carefree, we love to hear your thoughts. Please send us an email, send us a tweet, write us in the blog. So we'd love to hear your thoughts about that. So,
yes.
All right, well, we're going to close this out, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Peace. How do I stop it?